Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to IHIP News, where Pumps and I share our opinion about the news that is important to us.
Yep.
And of utmost importance are the, was it 34?
34 guilty.
Former President Donald John Trump is a convicted felon 34 times over. It is a great day for the American judicial system.
Absolutely.
And it is a great day for personal accountability. And the Democratic Party is now the party of law and order and personal accountability.
That's right. And it seems just, this is a man that has escaped accountability his entire life. No one has ever held him accountable. And in the last 3 years, his business has been held criminally liable for fraud. He's been held to account by E. Jean Carroll for sexual assault and defamation. He's been held accountable for over $500 million in civil penalties for fraud. And now we have the first of what I hope will be many criminal convictions. So someone who was Teflon Don has now what we have found, or what we call, he fucked around and he found out.
All right, so let's take a gander at these beautiful headlines that are seen throughout the globe, the entire planet. Trump guilty on all counts. And I think it's interesting he was wearing a blue tie today, maybe a nod to the Democratic Party. And then we have a satirical one, of course. Trump finally wins the popular vote. This is a man who cannot get votes for hardly anything by a majority. And he
killed
crushed his felony convictions.
He did.
Okay. And next up, I want to show you a tweet. Marjorie Taylor Greene, of course, tweets the American flag upside down. And I want to say, wah, wah, Marjorie, somebody call her a wambulance. Oh my God. And AOC, I mean, an icon, a total boss bitch, retweets it and puts, did you learn that from Samuel Alito?
She's so great.
Shade factor way high. All right. And then next up today, we have a video.
Professor, we have a great system, but the system isn't designed for political show trials. Yes, Trump can win on appeal and everything will be adjudicated properly. Yes, we have a great system. But when the system is abused by politicians and politicized district attorneys, before an election, who cares if it's thrown on appeal? You got a convicted felon now who's in the middle of an election. That's not the right system.
Exactly, Jesse Waters. Exactly. We have a convicted felon that's in the middle of an election. So, of course, after this verdict came out last night, I like to do a little hate watching of Fox. I just do. I like to watch the mental gymnastics, the moral gymnastics that they have to go through for this guy that they have all sold their honor, their dignity, their Christian values, their family values. They piggybacked it onto this abhorrent man. And so, but they can't help but slip out the truth.
That's right.
We have a convicted felon. And I want to remind everybody, the Republican Party has put this man up three times in a row. And every single time that he's caught, they have to move the goalposts. And just by using deduction skills, you know that all of the trouble that he's been in, none of them are like Democrats are the key witnesses.
Right. That's a very important point.
He is the common denominator in all of these things, from trying to bribe a foreign country to getting impeached twice in the House. all of the E. Jean Carroll, the bankruptcies, the fraud with Trump University. If you listen to him, the whole world is set up against him. But when you see somebody do the same thing over and over again, not only is it the definition of insanity, this guy thinks he's the exception. But for those of us that can use critical thinking, we know that he is the common denominator in all of these misdeeds and now felonies.
I do want to make one point that I think is important. Like you said, the witnesses are Republicans. The witnesses are people that liked him, with the exception of Michael Cohen. They've worked for him, long-standing employees. But I also think it's important to point out that every district attorney in every county in the United States runs for office. They are an elected position. That's true. In that regard, it's political. But they are specific to their county. The president, Biden, the DOJ, they don't have authority over these county district attorneys. So it is disingenuous to say that this is the Biden team or this is the Democratic Party. This is an elected official who was elected to prosecute crimes in his or her county without fear or favor. And that's exactly what they've done. Just because they don't like the verdict does not make it a Biden persecution or a DOJ. This is, if you don't commit a crime in that DA's county, then you cannot be held accountable. So that's false. I just want to make that clear.
But I also want to point out, if we listen to the right-wing narrative, on the one hand, it's Sleepy Joe, it's Crooked Joe, it's Dementia Joe, it's this guy's a bumbling idiot Joe.
Incompetent.
This guy isn't even the real president. And then when they don't want to use that line, then they switch and say, Biden tried to assassinate Trump during the Mar-a-Lago FBI raid, which they made sure Trump wasn't even there. And Biden is this mastermind that has skillfully weaponized the DOJ, and he's taken out, Donald Trump, and this is this grand conspiracy. So which is it?
Right.
Is he this diabolical mastermind that's gaming the system, or is he incompetent? Or, more accurately, have all of you sold your souls, your family value, Judeo-Christian souls, on a man who had sex without a condom while married with a porn star, which I don't give a shit about because I'm not a religious hypocrite. But all of these Fox News people,
they do.
All of the sycophants, that's all they talk about is family values, moral values. We're compassionate conservatives and all this bullshit. And this is your guy. So I want to thank Trump for exposing all of these religious hypocrites, because we've always known they were.
Right.
But now they're just fully exposed by piggybacking on him. All right, Seth, what's our next video?
Joe Biden shamefully is fundraising off of the political persecution of his opponent. That tells you everything you need to know about this current regime that is in power. So go to DonaldJTrump.com, support President Trump, stand on the side of democracy, of law and order. We need people to volunteer.
That's wild.
It just makes me crazy.
That is wild. I mean, it is unbelievable that she says that's the kind of person you're dealing with here. Go donate to Donald Trump.
Right.
And it's unbelievable that the man who is the biggest grifter on the planet outside of evangelical preachers is Donald Trump. And it's wild to me that then they say, go stand up for law and order. This is fucking law and order.
Right.
This is it. This is what happened. This is what happens when people get outside of the Trump bubble and around facts. The whole worldview falls apart, as evidenced by the 64 times I think they tried to take the election fraud lie to court. And each time they found, in fact, there was no fraud. Right. So every time they get outside of the Fox News bubble, they get outside of the Trump universe, they get out of Trump Twitter or off of Truth Social and get around people that can critically think and review facts, Trump is guilty every single time, or he's a liar in the case of the election fraud. And all of this is wildly dangerous. But all of these people are going to send him money And it's amazing to me. It's unbelievable to me that all of these people that say, I vote with my Judeo-Christian values, or I vote for the Constitution, or I'm so worried about crime. And then you go vote for this career criminal con man. I mean, the biggest con man this country has ever seen. And that's their guy. And again, the silver lining in this is Trump has finally shown and lifted the veil on the entire Republican Party what hypocrites they are. They no longer have to play bait and switch anymore. They've switched. They're wearing it loud and proud. We're hypocrites. We don't care about any of this stuff that we claim. Watch the way we vote. Watch who we nominate. Watch who we support. Watch how we excuse criminal and immoral behavior, because that's what every single one of these have done. All right, Seth, what do you have next?
Well, listen, Sean, I think you're exactly right. What we saw today was an absolute travesty of justice. This was not law. This was not criminal justice. This was politics. This was a political smear job. This was an attack job. This is what you see in banana republics. And it is, I am both furious and heartbroken at the same time. I'm furious at what we saw, but I'm also heartbroken for the rule of law. I'm heartbroken for our justice system.
Lion Ted is heartbroken.
He's heartbroken. I didn't even know he had a heart, for number one. But I just want to remind people that may not have followed it as closely as I did. David Pecker, who ran the National Enquirer media organization during that time, stood up and testified that he lied and put stories out about Ted Cruz's dad assassinating JFK that came straight from Donald Trump. He lied and printed that shit. And Ted Cruz is on bended knee.
Oh, he's heartbroken.
He's heartbroken. And here's the deal, Ted. When he was attacking your wife, when he was attacking your dad, before you became a sycophant, you knew what kind of a con man, liar, fraudster this guy was. So whatever heartbreak you have is because you sold your soul to the fucking devil. It has nothing to do with the judicial system, because the judicial system is the only thing that is holding democracy on the rails at this point.
So, if we were to listen to Trump's logic, he has said that Ted Cruz is a liar, which I think is verifiably 100% accurate, but also so is Donald Trump.
Right.
But Ted Cruz is one of hundreds of people in the Republican Party that trotted out this obsequious line, bending the knee to their dear leader, Donald Trump. And Ted Cruz has got to be this country's biggest pussy on the planet. Donald Trump called his wife, said she was ugly as a dog, I believe it was. Don't quote me, but something about her appearance. Like you said, during this trial, Trump specifically wanted to target Ted Cruz and create fake news about Ted Cruz's dad assassinating a president of the United States. And I just want to remind everybody here, Ted Cruz is a United States senator. And here's what's happened. Ted Cruz is one of many that trotted out all of this bullshit. If we reflect back to the Watergate era, the Republicans wanted Nixon gone.
Right.
They had honor. They knew this was a scar on their party. They said, we are going to vote to impeach. So Nixon resigned to avoid that and to help save the party and for the good of the country. That is gone.
Gone.
This is the party of no honor. These are the most dishonored Americans on the planet. This is what a Republican senator says after Donald Trump has literally pussy whipped this man publicly for years, for years. And I cannot believe that somebody could even look at this man. I can't even imagine how his wife can, but that's neither here nor there. Could even look at him and think he's even remotely serious. But here's the fundamental problem. Millions of these Americans are buying into all of this stuff. And I remember living in Oklahoma City, when Trump was running, before he won the primary back in 2016, I remember some moderate Republican friends of mine saying, oh, God, no, we'll never nominate Trump, that we're not going to do that. And these are what I would call the polite Republicans that keep their Trumpism under wraps. But then they would slip out after a cocktail. But I'll tell you what, Trump says what everybody's thinking.
Right.
So then they move the goalpost, he gets nominated. And then they're like, okay, he's not going to win. Hillary's going to win, but we believe in the Constitution. That's always their thing. It's the Constitution, Judeo-Christian values. Then Trump wins. And then you start to see them feeling permission to let that stuff that Trump says everyone thinks in their mind, they start saying it out loud. And you see this complete metamorphosis of all of these people that say that they're, the silent majority. We believe in the Constitution and we believe in democracy. You start seeing them change and shift the goalposts and go through the mental and moral gymnastics to get to exactly where Ted Cruz is. Ted Cruz is millions of Americans right now that live actively in cognitive dissonance, who are hungry and thirsty for power and to be punitive to people who don't think like them. And here's the fundamental difference right now in both parties. If Trump wins, the majority of the people are going to be impacted and feel pain and be hurt by his policies. When the Democrats win, their little egos might be bruised.
Right.
But the majority of people do better, particularly marginalized people. So all of these people that say that they're followers of Christ, therefore they support Donald Trump. The situation is, I'm not a religious person, but I've heard that this Jesus character is all about lifting up marginalized groups. So shut the fuck up with trotting out your religion and trotting out your moral duplicity when you vote for this total, abject, lying piece of shit and now convicted felon. I have completely had it. And we need to just keep beating the drum about what hypocrites these people are, from Ted Cruz all the way down to your next door neighbor. They're all complicit in this. This is the big government, anti-freedom, pro-crime, bullshit, anti-intellectual party. This is the end of the United States as we know it. You can say you're an American, but you can no longer call yourself a patriot or pro-American if you are defending this criminal, career criminal.
And I think one thing, after the verdict, Trump came out and he said something that I thought was so telling. He said, well, we couldn't win here because it's only 5 or 6% Republican. And I just thought that exposes that he is incapable of separating politics and legal, but he's also incapable of recognizing integrity, honor, and principle in other people. Because it should not and does not matter to serve on a jury who you voted for or what your political affiliation is. The only charge for a jury is to take the facts in and make a judgment based on the facts and the law. And so that exposes that he's incapable of doing anything that is not self-serving. If only Republicans can stand in judgment of him, that tells you he knows he's a liar. He knows he's morally bankrupt. I mean, I was just flabbergasted when he said that.
And it's important to point out, number one, Donald Trump is a New Yorker. This Florida thing is brand new. I mean, yes, he had properties there. Yes, he went to vacation there. He was not just a New Yorker, but a proud New Yorker. And he has committed multiple crimes and cons on this state, and it has caught up with him. And the law applies to everybody, including him. And it's been a long time coming. And I'm grateful that Trump is now finally facing justice, because we've all watched from the moment he came down that escalator and started making a mockery of not only his own political party, which he's completely ruined, and you see what happens to the people that have integrity and honor, like Liz Cheney, like Mitt Romney, Adam Kinzinger. They are completely ostracized, where back in the Watergate era, everybody said, no, we're not doing this to our party. Trump, this is a massive scale cult. All of these people are complete hypocrites that are now exposed, and they're quadrupling down on all of the crimes and moral duplicity that their leader, has done and on the world stage. And it is just a beautiful day that he is held accountable. I've heard some Democrats in the news cycle say, this is a sad day for America. And it's not. The sad day for America was when he was elected, because we still haven't fixed the Electoral College. I saw somebody in our YouTube section one day say, the Electoral College is DEI for Republicans.
It is. That's so right.
And it's so true. And so this is a happy day. This is finally putting, truth to power. And Donald Trump is completely dragged not only this country down, but he has put us in a very precarious position globally. And a message to any hate-watching Republicans, which we have quite a few, when y'all say the world is laughing at us, they're not laughing at us for holding him accountable.
Right.
They've been laughing at us for a very long time. The fact that we don't have health care, the fact that we're so wacky religious, but try to act like we believe in separation of church and state. But the biggest chuckle and horror of all was when that man got elected.
That's right.
That is what the joke was. But with Trump, every accusation is a confession.
That's right.
And I just think this is beautiful. And just a personal aside to all of our, diehard listeners, it has been Orgasm City for Pumps.
Oh, I've been so happy.
Her full-time hobby is nothing but the Trump trial. To give you a blow-by-blow of what we were doing, I called her and I was like, they have a verdict. And she was like, that can't be possible. And she realized she paused the news. So I was like, listen, I'm going to go play pickleball. I'm going to leave all my notifications on. You are to call me the second you know, and my friends and I will go take the phone call that we're playing pickleball with. And the shaking in her voice, guilty, 1 count, guilty, five counts guilty. And she's going through, we are jumping up and down.
Right. It was a happy day.
Girlfriends and I were so excited. And yes, I am excited that he was found guilty, because this is what has needed to happen forever. And the Republican Party could have impeached him.
That's right.
After January 6th. And they didn't.
Right.
They are going to carry this baby to fucking term. That's right. They are going to carry this. We're not going to let you abort him. We're going to go through every criminal trial imaginable, because this man is a career criminal. And a lot of us in this country, a lot of us that look like us and don't look like us, are not crazy fucking cult people. And we care passionately about the world in which we live, and leaving this country free for people to be whomever they want to be and believe whatever they want to believe. If you want to be a crazy ass Trumper, swing for the fences. Right. Be a crazy ass Trumper, but do not act like you're pro-America and
right.
pro-democracy and pro-Judeo-Christian values. That's bullshit. It's been exposed.
Pro-law and order.
Yeah, put a sock in it. I have had it. All right. It's a great day. We'll see you guys Monday. Stick with us for more hot takes.